Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we will be reviewing The Midnight Library by Haig. So I started this about a month ago and I finished it yesterday. Take that as you will. I think the majority of people know what this book's about, but basically it is about a woman trapped in the Midnight Library, which is a library between life, like the living world, and the dead world, and time does not move. And in this library, every book is a variation of her life, and any book she picks up and opens to read, she is suddenly transported to that life, and she tests it out and sees how her life would have played out differently had she made a different decision. And the decisions vary from like a very major life-changing decision to something very small, and there's an infinite number of lives she can choose from, and pretty much you go through her different lives. Now, I know this book has had a lot of attention since it came out. There's a lot of people that love it, a lot of people that don't like it, and I'm probably the latter. I understand that in quarantine, when this came out in 2020 when people were in quarantine, and I understand that reading this in quarantine probably felt like a portal to another world, and I can see the appeal there. But having read it not in quarantine, it was not my favorite. The first 150 pages took me so long to get through. I would read a little and then I would put it down. I wouldn't pick it up for a week. And it's kind of insane because a lot of the pages, chapters, especially early on, are so short that it's like it would only take me like 2 pages to get through a chapter, and I still couldn't do it. I found myself very not interested in the main character. One of the main things that makes people like a book is the main character. Their bond to them, their attachment, their love for them. They're rooting for them. And when you're rooting for a character, you want to see them succeed. And I was not rooting for the main character of this book at all. Until around page 200-ish was when I was actually like, oh, I do want you to get your goals. I do want you to do well, because she is set up in a way that's very hard to relate to her. At least for me, it was very hard for me to relate to her. She didn't want to be in the Midnight Library, and she didn't want anything to do with it. And it's really hard to root for someone who doesn't want the thing that's their goal. That made no sense. Let me explain. Characters are driven by goals, and the main character in this book, for the majority of the book, does not want her goal, the goal that is set out for her by the library. And she is like, her goal is something completely different, and her first goal is something you can't root for, so you root for that goal that the library gives her. And since she's not rooting for it, it's hard to root for her. One of the major issues with this book is I couldn't relate to her, and I wasn't rooting for her, and I didn't really care what happened to her because I wasn't invested. Quickly talking about the good things about this book is I think it is fun, and there are fun moments, and the situations that she's in are fun, and each life that she goes to kind of acts as its own little story, and each little story is really fun, and I loved reading them. I think that this would have worked really well, at least for me. I would have liked it a lot if it was a bunch of little stories based on her just going in these different lives. Another problem I have with this book is it comes off very self-helpy and preachy towards the end. Like, I have some quotes here to show you what I mean. In this book, towards the end, it says, if you aim to be something you're not, you will always fail. Aim to be you. Aim to look and act and think like you. Aim to be the truest version of you. Embrace that you-ness. Endorse it. Love it. Work hard at it. And don't give a second thought when people mock it or ridicule it. Most gossip is envy in disguise. And like, while that is a really good message, the way it is worded just makes you feel like it's targeted at you. And not only targeted at you, but it makes you feel insignificant. A lot of the quotes in this book are written like these profound statements. And really, at the end of the day, what the main character is saying is a basic concept that doesn't need to be complicated. Let me find you an example. This quote has the basic concept of just do what you're going to do and let it play out how you want to do it, because there are infinite possibilities in front of you. Just do what you're going to do, you know? But the way it's worded makes it sound more profound, and you have to really dig to understand what he's trying to say. It says, we only need to be one person. We only need to find one existence. We don't have to do everything in order to be everything, because we are already infinite. While we are alive, we always contain a future of multifarious possibility. I'm sorry. I wanted a really fun little read. I didn't want a philosophical adventure with ideas that aren't even really philosophical at the end of the day. Pretty much the ideas of this book are love is the meaning of life, be you, and don't have regrets. Those are the three biggest themes throughout this book. Those are the three main points. And while those are all really good points, and this is a really cool concept for a book, you know, having this library between living and dead where you can see all of your possibilities in life, it's a really cool concept, and those themes are really good themes. It could have been executed better, in my opinion, because this book comes off so self-help-y. I would read lines and I'd be like, oh, that is so beautiful. And then I'd have to go back and reread it to figure out what the hell it actually meant, because it sounded pretty, but I didn't really understand it because he's using these big fancy words. And then I would reread it and I'd be like, oh, that's just telling me to be myself and do what I want to do. Why is he making this really complex and philosophical when it's really not? I felt this way throughout the book, and I think that that's one of my major problems with it. It is only 287 pages, so it should be a quick read, especially if you read it in one sitting, which I did not do. At least for me, it was hard to pick this book back up. But I think if you're looking for a quick read and something that will make you feel really alive, this book definitely made me feel alive. Definitely check trigger warnings before you read this book, because it deals with issues of depression and mental illness and things like that. So if you are triggered by things like that, make sure you check out the trigger warnings for this book. And with that, that is my in-depth review of the Midnight Library. I am not a fan. I didn't hate it. I thought they had good points. It was a really cool idea. There were some strong points within the book, but there wasn't enough strong points to drown out the preaching of philosophical values to be your most authentic self and just be happy with the life you have. I couldn't get past that. Let me know down below if you've read this book. What did you think of it? Yeah, and if you completely disagree with me, tell me what you liked about it. I probably will never read this again. But I'm glad we had that journey together. Thank you for watching this review. Make sure to like, again, comment down below if you've read this book, and what your thoughts were, or if you plan on reading it. I hope I didn't deter you, because everyone has their own opinions. Make sure you subscribe. We are here every Sunday, sometimes with bonus videos throughout the week. They haven't been these recent weeks because I've been home on spring break. But yeah, make sure to subscribe to stick around, and I will see you all next Sunday. Bye.